But when the choice is thrust upon you, when it really wasn't your choice because you got laid off or your company went out of business, we want to know how to deal with a job search so that it doesn't feel hard, right? It feels almost a little bit exciting when it's your choice because you're very optimistic. You have a vision. I have a podcast episode that talks about running towards something instead of running away from something. And when you are job searching based on your own choice, then it can feel a little easier to get into that what am I running towards and that sense of optimism. But imagine if you felt calm, grounded, and had a sense of ease and flow in your job search, no matter what the circumstance. Even if you were forced out, even if it was a layoff, even if it was a separation agreement. Welcome to the Love Your Work Life podcast, where you will get encouragement, strategies, all the things you need to love your work life. This is about transformational, strength-based coaching for career, for leadership, for life. I'm your host, Elissa Shuck. Let's get started. Well, here we are. I've got my coffee. I hope you have your coffee. Let's talk about job searching because it is kind of a thing that's going on. It's always gone on, but looking back at the last 5 years since the pandemic, there just seems to be a lot of disruption in the job market, and it's really kind of hard to grasp what's going on. So people find themselves in a job search. Now, sometimes a job search is your choice. You see a company that you really want to work for, you see an opportunity you want to go for, or if you're like a lot of the clients I work with, you really want to make some kind of a transition into a new role, a transition into a new industry. Maybe a transition is actually career advancement. You see yourself doing more, contributing more, leading people. Those are all reasons that you choose to be in a job search. But when the choice is thrust upon you, when it really wasn't your choice because you got laid off or your company went out of business, we want to know how to deal with a job search so that it doesn't feel hard, right? It feels almost a little bit exciting when it's your choice because you're very optimistic. You have a vision. I have a podcast episode that talks about running towards something instead of running away from something. And when you are job searching based on your own choice, then it can feel a little easier to get into that what am I running towards and that sense of optimism. But imagine if you felt calm, grounded, and had a sense of ease and flow in your job search, no matter what the circumstance. Even if you were forced out, even if it was a layoff, even if it was a separation agreement. No fear, no hustle, no doubt, no feelings of lack. When you're job searching under your own power because you chose it, it's a lot easier to be in there without fear, without hustle, without doubt. Feelings of lack oftentimes aren't even present because you feel reasonably satisfied where you are, and it's the call of more. It's the call of greater levels of contribution. That's abundance. That's not lack. But when you're laid off, then it can feel really awful and it can be really hard to get into this no fear, no hustle, no doubt, or lack. And that kind of job search I call the fight, flight, or freeze job search. And you might be experiencing one of those more consistently than another, but I guarantee you've probably experienced all three at some point if you're not in this sense of ease and flow. So, what does a fight job search look like? Well, a fight job search looks like everybody's the enemy, the system is broken, recruiters don't know what they're talking about. It's like there's a battle that you have to do that everything is against you. That is not a great way to job search. That will take its toll on you. And quite frankly, a fight job search has a certain energy that is going to repel other people. You can't go into fight mode and have an energy that is, I'm here for you, I'm here to help. A fight job search is, I'm here to do battle, I'm here to win you over, I'm here to persuade you with force that I'm the right person for the job, not an energy that works for you. And it will wear you out, my friend, because you can't be in that kind of adrenaline rush all the time and have an effective job search. So, what's the next one? Well, we fight flight. So, flight has kind of two sides to that coin. Either you're running away from your job search or you are trying everything and anything, including applying for things that you don't really want, applying for things that are lower levels, other areas that aren't really interesting to you, flit, flight, float around and just, spray and pray, as they say. Flight is also you pulling back, applying randomly. Fear could be part of it too. Reading the news too much so that because if we read the news stories, and let's be honest with each other, the stuff that gets the clicks is the negative stuff because that's just how our brains are wired. There's a lot of good news out there. I'm seeing people land jobs all the time. I'm clicking the little celebration reaction on their posts, and my clients are landing all the time. You can too, but you can't be in flight mode where instead of battling it, you're running away from it, hiding and not showing up. Because flight, that's what it's really about. It's running the other direction. And if you're running the other direction, you're not showing up for yourself. And even when you do, you're not your whole self because flight really is kind of a lack mentality that you don't have enough to offer. So you're just going to hide somewhere. Now, it is interesting to note that, yes, you may have to take what I call a bridge role. A bridge role is something that gets you the cash flow you need. It's something you can do. It's something you can be reasonably happy doing while you continue to search for the ideal job. And bridge roles, yes, they can be something that you do because you're unemployed and maybe you want to go be a barista somewhere or go be a cashier at Trader Joe's. Wonderful. There is absolutely nothing wrong with that. And you're not giving up on your ideal by doing that. It might be just that you're choosing something that meets your needs in the moment. It's okay to do that. But pay attention to if that is just you flitting and flighting around, um, or is it you hiding and avoiding, flying in the opposite direction of what you really want? Those are distinctions that you need to think about for yourself. The next one is freeze. So, what does freeze mode look like in a job search? Well, freeze mode is overanalyzing everything. Freeze mode is I need to take this class so that I am feeling more credible and confident about the job. Freeze is really kind of a clever way of avoiding the job search altogether because you're looking at every single job description, you're analyzing it upside down and backwards, and you're comparing yourself to the role, and you end up not taking any action at all because you're just in this sort of analysis paralysis. Not good. You will not get a job over analyzing. Can you feel me here? Do you see yourself in any of these three job search modes? Well, there's a way out, my friend, and the way out is a paradigm shift. And here's the paradigm shift. Live in the emotional world of the person who has the job. Now, I'm not saying that you don't do anything and you just wait for a job to drop down on you. Nope, that's not what I said. What I said is living in the emotional world of the person who already has the job. So ask yourself some questions. How would I be feeling if I already had the job? You'd probably be able to take a deep breath. You probably would have a more settled feeling tone about you. You would not be hustling and grinding if you already had the job. You also wouldn't be avoiding the actions and the work associated with your job. And in the case of a job search, yeah, there's actions you need to take. You need to participate in interviews. You need to look at job posts. You need to reach out to human beings. But you don't have to do that from a fight, flight, or freeze type of energy. You can do it from the emotional world that you already have the job. That is ease and certainty. If landing a new job was inevitable, how would you be acting? What would your thoughts be about a rejection? Your thoughts might be no big deal. I'm going to land a job. My job is inevitable. I'm going to move on from the rejection and go for the next thing. This paradigm shift of living in the emotional world is really, really empowering, but it's not necessarily easy to do. It takes practice. It takes intention. It takes getting up in the morning every day and saying, what am I going to focus on today? What emotion do I want to have about this job search today? That's something that you can control. We can't control how fast someone gets back to us. We can't control how many people click apply on the apply button on LinkedIn and what that number looks like. But you can control your own thoughts and feelings about any given circumstance. And that's where your power actually is. The power of an effective job search. And when I say effective, I mean you're getting results. Your resume is working for you. And how do you know your resume is working for you? Because you're getting invited to interviews. If you're not getting invited to interviews, then it means your resume isn't doing its job. It's kind of simple. So you've got to look at it again. Are you really sharing the quality of information about you, describing yourself in a way that helps them visualize you doing the job inside their world and bringing along with you similar results and accomplishments? That's what a great resume does. It helps them picture you. It's not a list of bullet points. It's not a list of job responsibilities. its impact, its story. When you have a resume like that, it will open doors for you. I promise. If you feel like your resume is pretty darn good, but you're still not getting interviews, then I would say that your job search strategy is off. You are likely, this is the most common thing I see, is over relying on online applications. Just applying online and then sitting there and waiting for something to happen. Online applications are part of the process. We can't get around that, but you can look for a recruiter at that company. They're all right there. Go to the company page on LinkedIn, click on people, click on search, type in recruiter, look at some profiles, make your best guess at who the right person is to reach out to. Sometimes the job post even has meet the hiring team. And my friends, you need to take that as an open invitation to reach out. Do a little networking. Look at people who may work inside the company, who could be colleagues. There's many ways to amplify your job search by adding some other components like follow-ups and outreach, tracking somebody down. If you've applied and you've gotten a response if you had to set up a account in their ATS and it says still in process, then you know what? Find somebody to reach out to. This is probably the most powerful thing you can do in that application mode is send a connection request, letting someone know you just applied for the job and you'd love to learn more about their goals for the position. Super simple. You can do it over and over again, and it adds a dimension to your job search that makes a difference. And of course, if you are getting interviews but you're not getting offers, something's going sideways in those conversations. You might be in that fight mode, and certainly flight and freeze don't help you in interviews either because you're not bringing your true self. You're not bringing the kind of energy that works in an interview. You want to know what the best energy in an interview is? Curiosity. You cannot go wrong going into an interview being curious. I'm curious if this job is right for me. I'm curious to learn more. I'm curious to hear more. I'm curious to see if I'm a good fit for them and they're a good fit for me. If I could give you one tip on interviews, it's curiosity. That's when questions that you ask also come off as really sincere and authentic too, is because the energy behind them is curiosity. Curiosity is how can I help? So powerful. So, my friends, if you're in job search mode, look at how you're thinking and feeling about your job search. Choose different thoughts about it because when you choose different thoughts, you will have different feelings. And then take the inspired action. Be strategic. Look at your job search like a project. Look at your job search like a marketing campaign. When something isn't working, what do? You don't panic. You just analyze. Hey, what's not working? I'll try it this way. There's some trial and error in there. There's some testing and pivoting in there. But most importantly is that paradigm shift. What would I be thinking? And therefore, how would I be feeling if I already had the job? That's ease. That's a sense of relief. That's curiosity. What's this new job going to be about for me? That's certainty. So your assignment is to think about your job search and get real with the thoughts that you're having about it. I call this a doubt download. Just write down all the thoughts you're having. The system is broken. Nobody cares. It doesn't really matter what the thoughts are. The most important thing is to get them out of your brain and handwritten down on a piece of paper. This is how you give yourself some relief from that stress and overthinking that's going on in there. Now, once you have all the doubts, and it's really easy to, once you get started with this, some thought will occur to you, and it'll be perhaps a really ugly thought that you didn't even realize was jam-packed in there with all the other ones. Don't judge yourself for having that thought. Write it down. Get it out of your system. And then after you have all the doubts downloaded out of your brain, all the ugly thoughts downloaded out of your brain, then I want you to move on to new thoughts. Now, you could pick one or two of those thoughts, and you could say, okay, what would be the opposite of this thought? If it's, I'm not equipped for that role, what if the new thought is, what if I was equipped for that role? How am I already equipped for that role? You could be a thought that's a straight thought. Yes, I'm actually equipped for that role. Or the alternative thought could be a question that starts to springboard into new thoughts. Then your second list of thoughts are all thoughts that feel better. That's all it has to be. It's not complicated. It feels better to think that you are actually equipped for that role. It feels better to think the system isn't actually broken. That's all you're looking for. A thought that creates a better feeling. And here's why that's important. Because the better feeling is what inspires action. The better feeling is what gets you doing a quick review of your resume against the job description instead of analysis paralysis. Change your thoughts and you change your life. You know why? Because it's that emotional world that lives between a thought and an action that's the trigger for something better for you. Give yourself the beauty of this paradigm shift, my friends. You won't regret it, and I'll tell you something else. Your job search is going to turn around much faster than you ever believed it could, simply by changing your thoughts, feeling better, and then taking action from the place of, I've already got the job. Now I'm just going through the motions. All right, my friends. Until next time. If you like listening to this podcast, I invite you to visit the Love Your Work Life website at elissashuck-careercoach.com. On the site, you're going to find free resources and information about all of my coaching programs, everything you need to land a great job, advance your career, and lead and build an awesome team. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to this podcast, and don't forget to follow me on LinkedIn.